Hey guys, today what I want to do um, is discuss a new kind of rationale that I want to adopt in how I review books. Um, a new standard, almost a new way of thinking about how they stack up. I was inspired to do this by the what has been called drama surrounding the be critical statements. If you follow a bunch of other booktubers on Twitter, I guess there's a lot of drama. Barry from Bass Pierce, um, he just stated that if you want to be taken seriously, and you review, but you don't review books critically and think and talk about them critically, then your opinions are worthless. Which, whatever, you can say it's strong language, but get over it. I mean, his point being that if you want to review books for fun, that's fine. But if you want your reviews, like some people on BookTube, want their reviews to be taken as serious pieces of critique. And to do that, you have to critically review a book and discuss its negative and positive qualities. And it doesn't have to be negative, but you also can't give every book 5 stars, and you have to have some sort of almost rigorous um, Jesus, rigorous, I don't know, standards for a book to measure up. And to some, that's not going to make sense, and don't put those words in his mouth. That's my interpretation of everything he said. But I agree with that. I think that if you want your critiques to be more than just fun, you need to critically examine a work um, and really flesh out how it stacks up, how it stands. So essentially, I was thinking about this, and just so you guys know, I am a literature and writing studies major um, in a university. So we do a lot of, like, right now I have a class on critical and literary theory, and then other things. So anyway, these things are kind of in my head now to begin with, so I was thinking about that, and one of my favorite literary philosophers um, has an idea. Longinus has this idea of the sublime and what you have to do to make a work sublime. There are 5 major parts to the sublime, and I thought that was really good, and I think I will adapt that to how I review books in the future. So I wanted to lay out my rationale for all my future reviews in a quick little video so that it would make sense, and I'll give examples of what I'm talking about. So maybe not quick, but if you're interested, this will be how I'm going to be judging books in the future so that I can be more critical of literature, because that's what I want to do. That's my goal. I want to be taken seriously in an academic sense as a thinker, reviewer, and critic of literature. So the ideal is to be sublime, to be something that transports the human mind. It puts you on another level. That would be the ideal place that we want to go to. So here are the 5 criterion for accomplishing that. We have the first being high thoughts or interesting ideas. The second is strong passions. The third is rhetorical figures and devices. The fourth is noble diction. And the fifth is dignified and elevated composition. So I'm going to do now is I pulled out examples that I think kind of illustrate each of the 5 things, and then I have one example that I think shows all of them, and I would consider a sublime work and something worthy of, like, let's say a 5-star review. It is a perfect novel, at least in my opinions, and when I say that, I'm going to try not to apply that to a lot of novels unless I really believe it. And I might still say there were a few small mistakes, but they were very small, and that the mix of all these other criterion overpower any small mistakes. But there will be mistakes, and in some of these criterion you will not measure up. It's how well you do in them too. But anyway, a simplified view would be like, for our first criterion, high thoughts or interesting ideas, and I would say a book like Island by Aldous Huxley falls under that. Very interesting ideas about utopia, about human thought, the way we do things. A very interesting book with a lot of smart ideas. This would be a good example of high thoughts. Although not the only example, it could just be a good way of thinking about a common issue. For the next one, Strong Passion, I picked East of Eden by John Steinbeck, because this novel is very passionate about the way it addresses the issues, and a very passionate representation of a time and place and an ideal. And these books that I'm showing you also have other qualities, and I'm not saying they only have the one quality. They're just, I think, a good example of the quality I'm looking for. Rhetorical Figures, I picked In the Lake of the Woods by Tim O'Brien because I feel like it uses the structure of itself and the way it presents things and the ambiguity and wow, that's embarrassing. Ambiguity of its sections to further the purpose and the philosophical ideas within the novel. So I think that's a good example of using rhetorical devices. Noble Diction, I have Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. For Noble Diction is kind of weird. Noble Diction, dignified, and elevated composition kind of blend into each other, I think. But Noble Diction, I think, is using good words or phrases and different things to kind of exemplify, like good writing and phrasing. And if you've ever read James Baldwin, I could have picked any one of his books. They're all beautiful. And I also think I could have used that for dignified and elevated composition as well. The book I used for that, I actually don't have a copy with me because I loaned it to a friend. But for dignified and elevated composition, I would say a book like The Sun Also Rises by Hemingway, where it seems simple, but every single line in that book is well thought out, well placed, and just a masterwork of just this pure act of writing. I'm also a big Hemingway fan, but I can say not every one of his books is like that. A lot of them are. But The Sun Also Rises really is. And then the one book that I could think of, I have several, but that I popped right into my head, that I could use to encapsulate. It has all 5 of these qualities. It has everything you need, and it transported me to a higher plane almost, and I really think is deserving of the title of a sublime work, a perfect work, a masterpiece. And that would be Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. I believe high thoughts, it's about spirituality, about growing up, dealing with the world, coming to terms with the world identity, strong passions. I mean, you can feel the passion bubbling up off the page. Rhetorical figures, I think the structure of the novel is perfect. I think it folds in on itself brilliantly and is a psychological examination, is wonderful. Noble Diction, I mean, man, Noble Diction and dignified and elevated composition, it is hard to find a better writer than James Baldwin. Even if you didn't like what he has to say, just the way he says it is freaking beautiful and amazing. And oh man, I wish I could come anywhere near. I wish I could be 1/100th of the writer James Baldwin was. Brilliant. And this novel, I mean, whew, it blew me away. It wrecked me. It was amazing. So this be my example of the 5-star. This is what you should strive to be. So this is just going to be my rationale for how I'm going to examine books. So to say, maybe in the future, okay, I just did a review of this, so we can say Gone Girl by Gillian, whatever, I don't care. I would say high thoughts, not really. Strong passion, didn't feel it. Rhetorical figures, yeah, sure. There was interesting structure and um, idea, the way things are presented. Noble diction, no. Dignified and elevated composition, not really. 1 star is what I would give this. It was entertaining. It's doable, but do I think is anywhere near the level of Go Tell It on the Mountain? No, I wouldn't even keep them in the same library. I wouldn't. They're not anywhere near each other. So that's kind of how I'm going to do from here on. I mean, obviously that was really quick, simplified review. I have a really long one that I just put up. Um, so anyway, let me know. I would really appreciate any comments on both my reasoning, um, the way I'm going to choose to review, and also any comments about the idea of reviewing critically, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, and your rationale perhaps for how you plan on doing it or not doing it. Really leave me comments, message me however you want to do it. You can follow me on Twitter at Books and Beer. So I really would love to hear from anybody who has an opinion on this. So until next time, happy reading, enjoy life, see ya.